Yes. How we doing? Good early evening. Not quite afternoon now, is it? To all those watching this retrospectively, pleasure to be in your company. How you doing? I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. I hope you have not allowed propaganda, hearsay, mistruths determine your frequency. Do not let that happen. If you can help it, yes. I've not long since got home from work, so I'm just chilling. Got half an hour. Yes, half an hour before I go up. Yes, Katie. How we diddling? Hope you're doing well, Katie Jane. Don't leave me hanging on the line. Yes, we've got more people jumping in. Black vinyl matters. I'm telling you, black vinyl matters. It's integral. Not like a coloured vinyl, but black vinyl matters. I'm telling you. How we doing, Katie? What have you been up to? How did everything go today? Did it go satisfactory? Yes, I hope it did. And what I will have to say here at this point, for yes, yes, indeed. We shall be, won't we? Having chats about that in the future. All different plans. Why, man, I've had a busy, quite stressful weekend, really. And it's nothing to do with all the crap that they're trying to get you to believe either. Nothing to do with that. Man, ups and downs, but I'm still here. That's the positive. We're all still here. For how they, yes, for how they want you to feel, you're still here, aren't you? That's the beautiful thing. Every day you can make that change. That's the challenge. That is the challenge. Oh, I tell you, I've not been really soaking in any of this new wave of psychological terror that the West is putting upon its own citizens. I can't trust them as much as I can pick them up. Seriously? Can't trust Russia for as much as I could pick that up. Or the Ukraine, for that matter. You know why? Because all of them will be trying to pull the truth towards themselves. That's my opinion. Staying right out of it. Seriously. Yeah, nice one. So you hear all types of different stories, propaganda, misinformation being thrown out. And it's not about because I ultimately am against the elite system that's controlling us and enslaving us, that then I go to defend what is Russia, what used to be the old Soviet Union. I would never do that for one simple reason. Cultural Marxism. Remember that little baby? Cultural Marxism. We have to analyse the damage that cultural Marxism has done to the West particularly to this country, America, and numerous other countries. When you think of the drip infiltration which led to that, with the sole purpose of taking the West from the inside, as it were. Is that right? That's what they tried to do. And many would say they succeeded. Many would, I don't know whether many, I'm going to say this. In terms of the conflict that we're hearing right now, it's a beautiful time to do it because we are the most demoralized that we have ever been. Now, that demoralization has come from where? So it's ironic. We've been demoralized not only by China, Russia, but our own media, our own governments. We've got no friends out there. The people almost are on their own. Freedom marches building mandates, people fighting against them. Why? Because they realize it's only going to be people power that's going to do this. Because the whole system is corrupt from the top all the way down. That's not negative, that's realistic. Realistic. Bought and paid. Bought and paid. Yes, people. Who's in? Who's in the house? Yes. BB Sniper. Yes. How we diddling? Our Babs. Yes, Babs. How we diddling, Babs? Babs. Oh, wow. Fred Keener. Yes. How we doing? Hope you're doing well. And we got crown jewels on? Yes, mate. Years, Phil, on 2 times speed at start. What? What? They are. Oh, you're talking about me as well? Yes, I'll definitely agree to it if get involved in me, but certainly Katie and Shadow, a run of the mill. You know where you stand. You can trust, they will help, they will assist, they understand. People like that you stick close to, and you can work as a group efficiently, get the job done without egos, without pulling each other down. You know, there's none of that ever goes on in this little group. Let me tell you now. Yes, BB. Things sounding good, Katie. So they should. But I must have to say, man, you know, I do feel there's an element where I'm akin to Russia. It's almost like I feel like I have Russian blood. Have I? Would that be the vodka? Don't even drink the stuff. You know, they use vodka, they used to. I went over there in 2004, was lucky enough to play a gig. Flight paid for, hotel paid for, which was a 4-star hotel, which in Moscow was a big deal. Apparently, this hotel housed the Russian cosmonauts. So for Russia, for Moscow, it was quite a decent hotel. I think I stayed for 3, maybe 4 days. I went with a work companion, but I was there for work. I was playing a gig in the center of Moscow, and it was the most surreal thing ever. So I feel akin to Russia. I really do. Right? I don't know why, but I'm just feeling a little bit of Russian coming on. You know what I mean? Spasibo and all that kind of stuff. I think that's the only word I actually learned, and even that, it took me a while to get the ring of it. It's a mad place, Russia. Mad place. Well, Moscow, I would say. I would love to see the more wilderness side of Russia. So I have to say, I've got a bit of Russian in my blood. Might have a little bit of Russian in my blood. Now, wrong with that is at the same time, I don't trust him as much as I can throw him. Why would I? Why would anyone? With what's going on? With what's going on? The slow drip, drip. I mean, it's the KGB and all them that have got us so demoralised that your kids don't know whether to feel like a victim. They don't know whether to feel like they're oppressed. They don't know whether to feel like they're some kind of colonizer, even though whatever happened had nothing to do with them and nothing to do with any member of their family. They don't know whether they feel like a purple penguin. They don't know what gender, they don't know what pronoun to use on each other. They're mixed up, right? What's caused all that? What's caused all that? It's not hard, is it? It's not hard. Not hard. Did you see that photo of the little girl? No, I haven't, mate. I've been staying clear of all the propaganda. I've had little bits sent to me, but I don't trust any of the actors in there. That is as simple as that. Simple as that. I don't trust Ukraine. I don't trust Russia. I don't trust the West. And I certainly don't trust the Western media that is propagating this neocon shit. And they are busting for a war. And they're not only busting for a war, but they're busting for our acquiescence to that said war. When they know, geopolitically, there's been shizzle go on all sides. And Russia could argue that you're encroaching our borders here. So there's so many issues in the background, but no, we won't talk about that. We'll just tell you what we want you to believe. And then all we want is for you to say, let's have a third world war. Ain't buying it, yo. Ain't buying it. I might have Russian in my blood, but I ain't buying it. So that's why I'm probably going to do this stream. And then unless something really significant happens, I'm back on the freedom. I'm back on our curtailments that are happening here in the West. Seriously? Give a fuck if the First Lady of the Ukraine is going to fight against Russia. Don't be giving me that propaganda. Look, see, hello. I had some Russian in my blood not that long ago, vodka. Yes, yes. And listen, Angel, I do believe that you are the recipient now of a painting that was donated from Rob the Wizard. Am I right in understanding that? Congratulations. I do believe, if I'm right, you won the raffle. Never knew about it, only found out today in Leslie's comment section. Well done to you. Well done to you. You've got a wonderful painting that is coming your way. That's all I can say to that. Yes, mate. I don't know what you're on about. It's my work at this. It's like me kind of fairy hard hat. Mate, you're either Russian or you're not. It's one of them, innit? Oh, yes. I open sent a video. Man. Yeah, Robbie's top. Robbie's a top lad. Top lad. He's an amazing artist and he's very witty, very intelligent, and honestly, he's very good at moderating as well. Moderates on a few different channels, I do believe. He's always busy, keeping himself active. You know how it goes. Yes. Right. So, yes. You know what? I ain't mad at Vlad. No, but you know, what I will say is, like I say, firstly, it's this.
Whenever a government claims to have the people's interest at heart, you need to think again. In the entire history of mankind, there has never been a political elite sincerely concerned about the well-being of regular people. What makes any of us think that it is different now?
What makes us think that? I was amazed at the beginning of this because we've spent 2 years being bumfucked by our media, being ostracised, castigated for numerous topics. Didn't have to be about that. Numerous. You are this because you think that. You're that. I think it's right that if you think like that, you shouldn't get that. You shouldn't. And we've had this and they've been validating it all the way. They've backed off now like they're shitting themselves because they know the power's coming back to the people. That's how it feels. It feels like that. Just on the cusp of getting some traction with Canada and Australia, worldwide. Don't forget how much the press had to demonise them. So that means the press had to acknowledge them. Don't forget that. You know what it's like. They never show marches. So if they're making news stories, even demonising, it means that they had to cover it. So the only way they can cover it is by slagging their asses off. It never worked. Canadians were getting more and more on it. More and more organised. Australia, that ain't gone away. No doubt Italy and other countries in the world are all in the same boat right now. Then all of a sudden, no, don't think about that. Think about this. We need him out the way. And everyone's just kind of, just run over. I'm like, really? Do you remember 2001? Shock and awe. Do you remember the outrage? Because they had to get justification to do what they did. And how did they get that justification? With a worldwide media projecting propaganda at us. And to be fair, man, I was one of the staunchest that believed it at the very beginning. The news cycle, the way it was going. When they first went for Saddam Hussein, I'm like, get him out the way. What the fuck did he have to do with them two towers? Nothing. But I tell you what, their propaganda made me believe that them doing that was all right. I remember having a heated debate with a colleague, lovely, wise colleague at the time. He was saying it was bang out of order doing what they're doing against Saddam, even though not great, is it? There's ways of getting at someone like that. There's ways of dealing. You know what I mean? Whatever. To do what they've done, destabilise the country, and then it run off all through the Middle East to the point now where you've got irrational migration flows, which was a consequence of it. So you look at it now. I'm getting called a Nazi because of things that had happened back then. Because of the destabilisation, irrational flow, you're importing all kinds of shit without it being documented. And then all of a sudden you've got people infiltrating in your country that fucking hate you. As soon as you talk about it, you're a Nazi. You're a Nazi. So these guys are doing another number. Another number. Let me go from that. The government don't believe anything that they say and don't believe your goddamn media, to this.
Mr. Bezmenov was born in 1939 in a suburb of Moscow. He was the son of a high-ranking Soviet Army officer. He was educated in the elite schools inside the Soviet Union and became an expert in Indian culture and Indian languages. He had an outstanding career with Novosti, which was the, and still is, I should say, the press arm or the press agency of the Soviet Union. It turns out that this is also a front for the KGB. He escaped to the West in 1970 after becoming totally disgusted with the Soviet system, and he did this at great risk to his life. He certainly is one of the world's outstanding experts on the subject of Soviet propaganda and disinformation and active measures. Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate 1 generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years, actually it's overfulfilled, because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world, that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders. They are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin.
So you get the picture. You get the picture. It's amazing how he's chatting about it, how easy he felt it was. There was one thing he did say in there that was like, what the hell? Exposure to true information does not matter anymore. Imagine. And that is so true today. Fast forward to right now. What are we trying to do? Trying to tell people about truths. But because there has to be this spike, people will pull you down. Have we not witnessed elements of communism in a way that everyone has to agree, everyone has to feel the same way, and the person that doesn't, man, they're getting it? Isn't that communism? And this is what is really amazing right now. The ease in which society has been pulled down now, where you can barely talk about anything without someone wanting to close you down or defund you, lose your job. Is that the free world that we thought this was all about? It is scratching more and more like communism every day. So it's quite simple for me. I'm not on here to tell you anything. I'm just literally saying it. For me, it is quite simple. I do not trust any of them. No, no, no. I can't do it. I've seen too much. There's too many lies. There's too many fake stories that come from the media. I was watching a part of a newsreel where one of our news presenters is a famous one. I think he was on ITV. Now he's on Sky. You know, he's one of them, isn't he? He was positioned in the Ukraine, you know, lovely backdrop, and he has, you know, different analysis, people coming in and out, giving their points of view. He had this one geezer on who was a journalist, I do believe. He was trying to pin down this journalist to say why the rest of the West wasn't immediately stood by the side of Ukraine. And that's how he went. He played a clip of the Ukrainian leader, supposedly, that had mentioned that he was fighting the war against Russia alone. That's what he said. So then he was making the point to the journalist, are we doing enough? So it went from demonizing people because they don't want to wear a mask, discriminatory behavior all over the world, mandates coming out where people losing their jobs, and the media is sanctioning all this and bolstering it with not critiquing, not looking at it knowing that their fucking family members are going through this shit. No, I've got a job to do, I'll just do it. They flip now because now they're bricking it because they were on the verge of losing that Eric Gill statue outside the fucking BBC. And They throw a nice distractionary scud on all of us, namely World War III, which won't be World War III. They just want you to believe low energy World War III. So they shift over to that now, like there's some kind of fucking neocon media company that is only interested in ripping up shit up and down the globe. That is it. You've got almost megalomaniac, psychopath, sociopathic leaders that have come from having the best interest at heart, or at least portraying that, to out and out demonizing people because of their bodily autonomy. Ostracizing, castrating them, literally cutting them off. You can't eat, you can't do this, you can't do that. Knowing that these guys are being sponsored. They're supposed to be serving the people, but they're being sponsored. You're getting told selfish because you wanted to have some bodily autonomy. Then everything changes. We've now got to think about this. They're now pushing this in the human psyche. And I'm like, man, that's why I done a video the other day. Fuck the lot of them. I'm going on my decks. And I spent like 2 days on my decks just doing mixes. I went on Mixcloud, done various streams. But I'm having nothing. Because it's bollocks. One, it'll just get all people wound up again and into this. Like he just said, with that demoralised, we won't be able to sort out what's up or fucking down. Anyway, pardon my French. What we need to concentrate on is what is happening here, right now, to us. As a civilization, I would have said, everyone will have their own opinion. The media are inviting us to become stakeholders in World War III. Do you believe that shit? I ain't falling for it. Comments. Been in lab for days, Phil. Conjuring up. Hope you've been well, mate. Having an internal conversation. What? Yeah, I used to be on the decks back. Yes, mate. Still on them now. Still on them now. I get more solace out of being on my decks. And Rob will appreciate this because Rob is a very creative person himself. You're gone. You're gone. And it's, you don't even have to work to go to dislodge yourself. Maybe that's why creative people find it easy to see through this shit. You know what I mean? To be disenfranchised from all this now is very, very easy because hindsight is a beautiful thing. Look at what they've done to us. Look at what they've injected, whether it be cultural Marxism or dividing of a nation. Look what they've done to us. If you're not looking after yourself right now, if you're not realizing your inner self and try to pull yourself out of this, it's hard times. And even then it's hard because doing that alone is a challenge. But we're all trying and we all do it day by day. So what you don't need a media that is constantly injecting negative low frequency headline after low frequency headline. They are going out of their way to totally demoralize every last human being on this planet. And platforms like this are helping them. Because no doubt there will be a assigned moderator actually watching this stream right now, just in case I say anything. Just in case I say anything. And that's the world we live in, guys. That's the world we live in. See if I can get this photo up. I don't know how true this is, but if it is, it says it all. That one. Not that one. Okay. Give it up. So you don't know what to believe. You get so much stuff sent, you don't know what to believe. You have to work so hard to decipher and make sure that whatever you've been sent, you're analysing. You're making a right job of actually appraising it. Not jumping off on one. Not jumping off. I got sent a clip the other day, and it was supposedly either Canadian police dropping their arms, their riot shields in the street, right? On the face of it, you think, yeah, look at that. Go, more power to you. When you actually analyse it, it wasn't that at all. It was fucking Eastern Europe. It was an Eastern Europe dialect before that, but only for a few seconds. But it was enough to fool people for them to start sharing it. I can't find this bloody. Have I put it in? Man, I must have put it in. It was basically what looked like a screenshot of when they have the rolling bar on the bottom of the mainstream news, and it had like breaking news, Ukraine civilians arming themselves and blah, blah, blah. And it was like moving pictures, but this was a screenshot. And clearly this was moving pictures of two guys that looked like they were stood at the side of a building in civilian. So they looked civilian with what looked like on the face of it, two weapons, right? Two rifles, it looked like. You think, yeah, they're fucking arming themselves, they're having it. They were like cardboard cutouts, the rifles. They wasn't even real when you look closely. Because the caption actually said, what's the firing range for a cardboard fucking AK-47? It's like, but yet the mainstream media are throwing that out as proper news to give you the perception that they are arming themselves and, there's kind of a revolution going on there. I don't know what's going on there, to be honest. I've been working. No doubt we've all got our own lives. And all of a sudden, everything doesn't transfer to the Ukraine. Call me fucking selfish. But there's enough shit that are going on in here. And there's enough going on around without a false injection of what I should be thinking about, what I should be reacting to, and what y'all should be reacting to. And a failed attempt on their part for them to gain acquiescence from me. That's all this is. Wood guns, mate, I'm telling you. He said he's seen it. Someone said he's seen it. Yeah. Mate, doesn't really matter who behind all this crown jewel. Here we go. Here we go. Wisdom. Doesn't really matter who behind all this crown jewels when our own politicians have sold us up the river. Thank you, Rob. So why all of a sudden do we get diverted and start thinking Ukrainian all of a fucking sudden? And I'm sorry, but is this a contrived news story, or at least heavily more inflated than is actually going on there, for one? For two, how much of this is actually been created by the likes of NATO and the West with the way they've done their dirty shenanigans over the years. Both of them are valid points. So, no, it doesn't mean to say all of a sudden I'm with Putin. Nah, I went there in 2004. I won't fucking go back. Telling you, it was a nice experience, but it was eerie. I'm not saying it's not a beautiful place and you wouldn't enjoy it. I'm just telling you what I felt. I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there because you knew with the way they walk around with the guns, the way they look at you, and I'm not saying that was because of colour. All I'm saying is it felt like communism was hard to be beaten out of the older generation over there. Man, it was funky as fuck. The younger generation would try 2004 this, so we're talking, what, a good 18 years ago. The younger generation, the student generation, loved the West. That's why I was over there. We just made an album over in Manchester, Dual Control. The album was called Left and Right on Grand Central Records. We got a gig and I went out there solo, but with a friend of mine. Played a wicked gig because they wanted to embrace anything musical or cultural from the West because they've been battered with fucking concrete grey buildings and bloody communism. They're fucking sick of it. And it just so happens now that I go over there representing the West, not realising that fucking communism's crept into my country. Man, because I wasn't as awoke then. And now I look here and think, I'm not going back there, man. You only had to listen to that ex-KGB defector. They fucked us up. Fucked us up. Where you can't even have a conversation on race, on gender, or whether the fucking sky's coming up in the morning, the sun rather. You know what I mean? People can't even work out their own shit. And that's been down to outside forces. Man, don't give me any of that enemy of the enemy is my friend shit either. No, Rob's got it right. We're getting fucked over. Don't forget that, guys. Every day of your life, you're getting fucked over by this same capitalist system. And I'm not going all communist here. I just mean we're being fleeced. It was meant to be good, but look what it's doing to us. It's creating oligarchs, it's creating stakeholders. Sounds like the CCCP, doesn't it? Motherfuckers. Now they're wanting us to rally round. Fuck off, man. Sorry, that's my stance, and I might be wrong, but I'm not having it. It's been suggested this is going to last a few years. I wonder who will remember to get Boris locked up for breaking. Mate. And isn't it always the way, Rob? What have they said when, in your journey, in my journey from the very start, when things start to get a little bit touchy, a war is generated. A mass transferal of wealth then takes place. Arms companies make shitload of money. Financial institutions, because that'll be a lot of what's going on. Russia's on the fucking map. But yet, you want us to think that, oh, it's because of this and that. Yeah, I'm sure Ukraine's a little bit dodgy, isn't it? So don't get me to start feeling sorry for them. I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry. But I don't see anyone in Russia or anyone in the Ukraine holding placards up like we were holding, saying, listen, them guys in Mars Platin, they're getting it, you know. The living conditions, they're getting it, you know. No. All very nationalist, isn't it? So I'm not saying you're on your own. My heart goes out to anyone stuck in a crisis. Believe me, no matter what. But don't try and divert my fucking energy. Don't. CCP, yeah, kind of went overboard on the C's, didn't I? Can't go jailbreaking regs, bro. What? man. So this is, you know, being an activist. It's a question of, I guess it's a question of what's in your heart. But I ain't flipping about now. Seriously? I ain't flipping. It's like, I'm seeing content makers just going all fucking Russian now. That's why I wore this, just to take the piss. Not here. Like I say, as far as I'm concerned, unless something seriously happens, unless something justified that I can go, yeah, that affects. I'm back on freedom, back on rights. You know what I mean? Say one thing while privately hoping for an invitation to the secret barbecue. Weak weasels, buying stocks and shit. The carpet don't match the drapes. Y'all just saying. Angel's on it. That's why she won the raffle, you know, because she's on it. Fucking on it. Say one thing while privately hoping for an invitation to the secret barbecue. Weak weasels, buying stocks and shit. The carpet don't match the drapes, y'all. Just saying. Angel should be on here. She should be doing what I'm doing. You're on it, Angel. You're on it. Who's a musical terrorist? Terrorist? Who? Well, mate, now I'm getting you, mate. Is that how you class yourself, bro? Because of, man, you're thinking out the box. You don't mind telling truths in your music. Yes, mate. Lyrical, musical terrorist. Wear it with pride, son. Wear it with pride. You know what I mean? Gotta be in it. Who'd have thought telling the truth would be a revolutionary act? Who'd have thought that? It's a good job you don't give a shit, innit? Man. Yes, Angel. On it. Hey, what? All right. Yeah. Condolences. Spiderman a lot, Kater. Man, that spider looked like it had like it'd been pimped. You know what I mean? It looked like it had little jewelry thing, but the coloration was so obscure. Wouldn't go anywhere fucking near it though. Me? What? Seriously? I'd rather go back to Moscow. I'd rather walk to Moscow than touch a fucking hairy spider. Just saying. Right, I'm going to get going shortly anyway, guys, because I've got a little matter of spaghetti bolognese to sort out, you know. Going all Italian tonight, like Mama used to make. If you believe that. Past caring. About what? What? Loving it for metal. He knew Alex Jones was a metal frontman. Yes! No idea what that was about, but yes! I'll be power walking around my kitchen island waiting for Wiz Truth. Yes! Power walking around the kitchen. You must have a big kitchen. Mine, I can't power walk. 2 steps and I'm turning. Seriously, I'd be just banging my head. Well, here we go. More. Oh, day one with your stories, headlines, man. Right, so guys, I'm going to leave you with one last video. Oh, and that's some of the Russian army. Does that come up? Why didn't it come up? Coming up. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Look, that hardly looks fucking friendly, does it? Hey, look at that. If I get lost in the Ukraine and I bump into this git, there's no way I'm asking him the way to the airport, as I've got a feeling I'm not going to get there. You know what I'm saying? Fucking frightening place. Russia is a frightening place. I had an experience in a Lada taxi, right, involving the taxi driver and the Russian fucking police that I'll never forget. Never forget. And I moan about shit in this country. Man, they're hardcore over there. Another day, another story. Not going to bore you with it, but man, it's on top to fuck. Pardon my French. I've got French, Russian, Miles Platin, all of it. Spagbot, yes, BB. Come round, mate. Bring your garlic bread, and we're on. Job is a good one. Done a big pot there, bro. Big pot. Enough for you all. Could feed you all tonight. You know what I mean? Some good hearty spaghetti bolognese. But anyway, whatever you guys get up to, have I got that video in there or what? Let me just have a look. One last video. Other than that, guys, thank you for jumping on for this little lengthy rant of mine. And I'm going to let this guy kind of say his piece.
This is Streetlight History, Ukraine. After World War II, when fascism lost its bid to control the world, communism and capitalism had control over the planet, and they were fighting for it during the Cold War. Russia collapsed in the 80s, and the United States has been trying to consolidate its power all over the world, power and control, economic, political, diplomatic. NATO was created to stop communism. Now that the Soviet Union has collapsed, NATO is trying to gain control and stop Russia from being one of the world powers over the world. When the Soviet Union collapsed, Ukraine separated from the Soviet Union, creating its own country. Within Ukraine, there is a smaller region that wants to separate from Ukraine. Why? Because they feel that the government of Ukraine is a bunch of fascists that have been bombing their land and their people for decades. Okay, the U.S. has not said anything about it. NATO has not said anything about it, and they keep getting bombed. So now, Russia is moving into the separate area, trying to help the separatists, and the U.S. and the NATO coalition are trying to stop Russia from doing that. And that's where we are now. Will it come to a war? It might come to, it's definitely a war in the region, but it has been a war for a long time in the region. Is this going to be a world catastrophe that will destroy civilization? No, it's in nobody's interest. No player is interested in that. It would come to sanctions, posturings, and small conflicts all over the world. My advice to you is keep your head calm, stay informed, don't believe everything you hear, and more than anything, live your life and do that which you came here to do.
Love that. Stay informed. Live your life. Do what you came here to do. Fuck Putin. Fuck Boris. Fuck Biden. Pardon my French, my German, my Italian, my Russian, and my Mancunian. Fuck them all. Worry about you. Build yourself up. We've been going through a demoralization program that has lasted for decades. We have to reverse this plan. We do not listen to any more bullshit propaganda from Putin, from Boris, from Biden, from the mainstream media. We don't believe it. It's full of shit. Aren't they? And last note here, what go on in here? A woman on a bike does something for me. What's going on here? You know what I mean? Baby, I'm gonna break that down one day. It ain't now. Ain't the right time now. Wouldn't be appropriate. I need more information. You're sounding like oh, one sec. Yes, right. Yeah, BB. Need more on that. That's a stream all on its own, innit? What the hell going on here? You know what I mean? As people try to get at that. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I've heard a few people talk about it, and I will. Man, I've got enough on my plate managing the channels that I've got at the moment. You know what I mean? Just throwing the videos out. Don't forget you've got to edit them and then distribute it out onto the various channels. Like, man, barely get any sleep as it is when I'm doing a video because you've got to throw it upon so many different platforms. Even though I'm banned on Facebook at the moment, slap my wrist for a post I made called The World is Rising. And the same thing happened on here. Truth telling again. So yes, guys, well done to Rob and his beautiful painting. Well done to Angel, the recipient of it. Thank you very much to everyone who's been on this stream. You guys take care. Remember how powerful you are. Don't listen to these guys. They're full of it, man. You know what I mean? Full of psychopaths that only want you to be controlled by them. So you take care of yourselves. I'll be back soon with a beautiful interview with a lovely lady called Donna in the next few days, hopefully. So you take care, guys. I'll see you then. Love you all. Even the pissing haters.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Even the pissing haters.
I love you. 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 I love you.